Hey everybody, and welcome back. So Pierre still supports Trump and MAGA, not by directly saying he supports Trump, but by the comments he makes, the lack of comments that he does, not pushing back on Trump, his decisions that are affecting the Canadians, his own people, and everybody else in the world, especially what's going on here in what's going on with Iran and the war with Iran, them and Israel. Even Mark Carney, to a certain degree, has screwed up on his statements with what's going on in Iran. The original statement was he supports the war effort or supports the decision the U.S. has gone to a war with Iran, which is international law against their own laws that he cannot unilaterally declare war on a country without Congress, and that's what he's done. Mark Carney making the statement where Iran should not be able to get a nuclear weapons grade plutonium weapons and everything else, which no one disagrees with, but they weren't. His statement implied that they were on the brink of getting, just like what Israel and US has been saying for 30 plus years, even though Trump indicated in their last bombing campaign that they destroyed everything, all the machinery, their material to make a nuclear weapon. Yet now they're going back to those talking points. When Obama had the Iran deal, where they had inspectors, independent inspectors, going to Iran to look to make sure they weren't doing anything, and they were passing every single time. So this idea that Iran was on the verge of nuclear weapons, you could see video clips of Netanyahu 30 years ago talking about how Iran was on the verge of nuclear capabilities. Anyways, I digress on that. So Mark Carney screwed up on that, but Pierre is also not getting away free on this. It's Mark Carney derangement syndrome or liberal derangement syndrome. I don't know what to call it. Blame everything on the liberals. The high cost of food, fuel, and everything else, especially now when it's not his fault. Again, the Iran war has cut off 20% of the oil supplies. No different than what happened, well, more so now because of all the oil coming out of the Middle East. But we saw this too, to a certain degree, when Russia invaded Ukraine. Cost of oil went up. This is why, as a nation, not to say we have to stop oil, but we have to get off the dependence of it. Because at the end of the day, we still produce more than what we use, but our costs still dictate by what the world market is willing to pay for. So when the cost of oil goes up, our costs go up as well. Cost of fuel, cost of food, cost of construction, manufacturing, and everything else. And Pierre Poilievre is still trying to blame the liberals. This is why his poll numbers are in the toilet, still continuing to slide. As of today, it's 49% liberals and 35% for the conservatives. If they had an election today, they would get destroyed. Favorability in a leader. Mark Carney is, I believe, at 60% on average. Maybe slightly more than that. I think I got to look at the notes again. Nationwide, even in Alberta, 59% favorability. Alberta. So let's take a look and see what he had to say in question periods and who's at fault for the high cost of fuel today.
This Prime Minister said he would be judged by the prices at the grocery store. Since he took office, food price inflation has doubled. And this Prime Minister has introduced new taxes that increase the fuel prices of the farmers that feed us. Now, 2.2 million people are lined up at food banks and faced with even worse fuel costs today. So will the Prime Minister the Liberal Prime Minister reverse his latest Liberal tax so that Canadians can afford to eat?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it feels like Groundhog Day. I'm once again required to remind the member opposite that the impact of the industrial carbon tax on fuel prices is approximately zero. The impact, though, of our trade deals on the farmers in his constituency is absolutely enormous. It is almost planting season, and the farmers of Alberta, Battle River Crowfoot can plant canola.
See how, like, again, it's typical politicians redirect, give as little information or detail as possible. Costs, yes, have gone up. Fuel has gone up. More so before, not more so, but before what was going on in Iran. But now it's astronomical, double, tripled the issue. And it is now 100% Donald Trump's fault. He's still, like, show me where Pierre is bad mouthing Trump, saying he's a menace to Canada. We have our own problems, but Trump has exacerbated it. Where do you see any of that? It's like he believes if he continues on, again, he thinks if he continues on the same path, he doesn't make any changes, that he's going to get elected, that Canadians are going to see he's the right leader. But Canadians are watching, and they're seeing nothing has changed. He hasn't learned any lesson. Doubling down, tripling down. He's going on these trips to meet leaders of allies, like in Germany, to discuss potential trade. But he doesn't have any say. If he wanted to be a part of this, he should be traveling with Mark Carney, showing all our trade partners how united Canada is. That even the Conservatives, and the disagreement the Conservative Liberals have, that we're going to work together to make sure we can make our allies stronger and us stronger as well. But he's going by himself to dinners, to private meetings on the taxpayer dollar. We will not see any benefit from that, especially when Mark Carney and the Liberals have already have dialogue with those allies of ours. He's not adding anything. It's all show and a waste of taxpayer money. Remember when he was complaining about how Mark Carney was traveling around on the taxpayer dollar? That he should spend more, he was implying that he should spend more time with Donald Trump. You know, the guy who still to this day is implying that Mark Carney would be the governor of the 51st states. How do you make a deal with that? Not condemning it. He said, very softly, indirectly saying we are a independent nation, sovereign nation. That's not calling him out. I wish, to be honest, that the Liberals should just call an election. The Liberals would just sweep the Conservatives, and then Pierre Poilievre can just go away in the sunset, and we just don't have to listen to this anymore. Guys, the party is going to hurt. Your Conservative Party is going to hurt. The sooner you guys get this guy out, the better you guys can rebuild your party. He's done. There's nothing left. The only way he would ever win an election is if Canada, the constituents, the voters, absolutely hated the Liberals like they did under Trudeau, because they hated Trudeau. That's not going to happen again. He blew that one chance he had. Remember? He blew a 25-point lead. So this has got to change. This is like, he just needs to go. And for those who you're still blaming, those Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre, loyalists, the costs that are going up is Donald Trump. Okay? War in Iran. Poke the bear. There was no danger. There was no imminent danger. They were not a threat. Yes, what they were doing to the people inside their country is despicable. But that's for their people to deal with and to do regime change, not the Americans or Israel. Because you might as well go to North Korea. You might as well go to China. So anyways, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you guys approach conservative loyalists that feel that Donald Trump is not the problem, or the ones that think Donald Trump is actually doing a good job? Because I just kind of just don't even I don't even talk with them anymore. It's hard. It's just I think they're gone. They're just beyond approach. They have to come to their own Jesus moments, you cannot convince them. That's my feeling. But let me know if you're able to convince somebody differently. Maybe we can figure out how to convince Pierre Polyev to actually put the blame on Trump when it's needed, like now. Anyways, guys, take care. We'll talk later.